Oh, okay. Yeah, we are on the page.
Amazing. Beautiful. Yes. Those 3 years. We're hoping that as we go into year four, that's the end of the waiting. um, yeah. Well, you should get some action quick, because yes, taking is upon us. And Jack, glad to see you in Greece. Please, Ocean, are you in Mykonos, or where are you? And Martin, yes. Yeah, September AMA is a good way to start off the quarter.
Yeah, okay.
Just in time, yes, 1% of Aquari is the make it stack. 1% of Aquari is all you need. That's enough where it's like the project takes off, that's 1/100th of the total valuation. So I think you've hit a great goal. Okay, Mache, thank you for having this up. So guys, this is it. This is our official staking contest contract, which has the prototype for our V2 staking pool embedded within it. Matcha, can you full screen the code?
No, it does.
Oh, it doesn't do that.
Okay, it works. It works. It didn't work before. That's why I said.
No worries.
I mean, it can't go like fully on screen, but it's basically as good as it gets.
Yes. So what you guys are looking at is Matcha and I's. This is the culmination of 3 years of work, 3 years of research, learning. It has been a long journey, but how would I say, after this long sprint of self development, yeah, Mache, I'd say it's safe to say that we can call ourselves smart contract developers at this point.
Yeah.
What do you say? Yes, guys. So a lot of sweat and tears came here, but this literally smart contract right here is basically for our staking contest. And the reason we went ahead and deployed this instead of just going straight into V2 is we wanted to test the ability to stake a real Aquari on chain in a low stakes environment. So this smart contract right here, we decided to have the contest for fun to increase community engagement, while also being able to test to make sure, hey, when we deploy V2, we're not going to have any mishaps like funds being locked in the contract and whatnot. So things have been going quite well. That's one of the good things. And for example, in an emergency, if anything happens with this contract, it does have an emergency withdraw function. So if any funds get stuck, it's impossible. We can just pull the plug and manually redistribute. But luckily, everything has been working fine. We have. Can you scroll up to the top of the page, Manche, and check the token balance to see how much Aquari has been staked?
Yes.
Let's take a look, guys.
It's over 100 million, 135.
Yes. So we have about 135 million staked, guys. Yeah, let's do a little sand test so they can see how this can work out right now. Mancha, can you pick a random wallet that you see that's staked and copy its address real quick?
Yep.
Okay. Now, can you go to the contract menu in BSC scan? But not for our acquired token, but for the staking contract. That makes sense.
You want to read the contract?
Yeah, just copy the address, and then go to read. And then there's a function I want you to call.
Yeah, which one?
So, wait, before we go ahead, for those of you that don't know, most people don't know this, but you guys, the smart contracts on the blockchain, they are executable programs. And this menu right here lets you manually call those functions. If you're a developer, you come here often. If you're not, if you're just a user, you don't really need to know what's here. But what you're seeing here basically is all of the functions that Mache and I have programmed into this smart contract, and all the values that are on chain. So this is all the logic here is all decentralized. In the right section here, this is for us to. This is we're the only ones that can write. But well, yeah. Go back to the right section, Mache. I want to show them the right section first. We won't call any functions. I just wanted
Okay.
to show them. Yeah. Where I'm all about good operational security, so we're not going to.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say, because I didn't want to authenticate the stream.
Yes, no worries. So as you can see at the top, it's a finalized contest function that that actually will manually be called when the contest is over on November 10th. Pause if, like, for example, there's anything weird happening, we can manually pause the contract. So, like, for example, say we're getting exploited or whatnot, we can stop the exploit by pausing if we catch it in time. Renounce ownership. I mean, you don't really need to know about this, but yeah, for example, if we need to renounce the contract ownership, if we need to, like, yeah, if we just need to renounce it, that's renouncing. A lot of meme tokens use this, have a function like this, so that yeah, it's just to establish trust amongst traders that, hey, no one can call any functions on the contract anymore. The stake function right here. So when you're in the Aquari app, this function is actually what's called when you deposit Aquari. Our app automatically does that. But if you're a bit more technical, you could manually come here and press this button, and it would let you stake from your wallet. Transfer ownership is self-explanatory. That's a transfer to owner to another wallet address. We could scroll down, Mache. Unpause, that's yep. Unstake, that's something you call to get your money back, because everyone wants their money back. And then update price, this is a function that's just manually called in the background, so the contract knows, hey, what is the price of Aquari and BNB at any given moment. Mache, go to the read section now. This is where things will get interesting. Okay, guys. So the contest end, that is a timestamp. You don't need to really know that, but that is a timestamp in just numeric format. That basically has the date at which the contest ends, which is the November 10th. The contest start date was the day that the contest started. Max total stake. This is just for safety. There's only 100 billion Aquari tokens in existence, so you can only stake a maximum 100 billion. If there's any more than that, that should be not allowed. Time weighted average price period, you don't really need to know about that, but in order to prevent price manipulations with anyone that's exploiting, we track price on a weighted average. So this just basically tracks Aquari's price in a 1 hour interval, and I believe at 36 that just means 1 hour, but I believe in a certain format is that seconds. I'm not going to think about that right now. Aquari token, that's the contract address of our token. You don't need to know about this block timestamp last. Scroll down, Mache. I want to get to the interesting functions where we can actually query the contract for some data.
Here is get USD value.
Okay, let's not do the USD value, because this is it's going to return it in a 9 decimal places. But we know what we can do. We can get query the amount of. Well, first off, query get leaderboard. I'm just waiting for the screen to update.
I'm trying to find it.
get leaderboard.
Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, I didn't see it before. It was just right above.
There we go. So just query that. Should return the leaderboard as of right now.
Yeah.
Is it actually returning the information? Or is it...
Yeah,
there we go.
It did.
Okay, beautiful. So guys, we have approximately... So in the app, guys, when you invite someone, what happens is that we have a program that automatically is running on our website that every day or two will send out emails to people that have been invited. So you invite someone, that basically sends out the email. It's logged in our database that you invited them, but that doesn't enter them into the contest. For them to be entered into the contest, your friend will have to deposit Aquari into their embedded wallet inside the app. So as you can see, there's only 4 people right now that have actually done that. So yes, so the leaderboard in the app basically shows who has been invited, but this right here on the blockchain right here is showing who has actually deposited Aquari, and the other numbers at the bottom are corresponding to basically the value of Aquari in dollars and the amount of Aquari staked, but it's in a 9 decimal format, just because that's just what Ethereum's virtual machine basically can't do math with decimals, so we do it with integers. So it looks all complicated, but it really isn't. So yes, this data right here is not in the order of who's winning right now. That actually will get filtered in our front-end user interface, which still has to be updated. I apologize for that, guys, on that lag. But yes, the leaderboard, which will show the username and the position that everyone is in, that is actually still coming soon. I will talk to you guys later tonight about why that has been delayed, because our development resources have been temporarily allocated to something else that's very exciting, which Nas in the group chat had actually mentioned. So here's what we're going to do, Monte. We're going to query one of these functions. Trying to figure out which one. Can you scroll down a little bit, please?
Yes.
Is there a function that has a name of like get amount of Aquari by like address or something?
Staked balances input address here. Here it is, but it's in uint 265, so I would have to decode it. But yeah, it returns the proper value.
No, so this is right. So you know what you need to do? Just remove 9 decimals from the right, and that's the number, I believe. So or 7. See if it's 7. That should give the amount of number in millions of Aquari.
Here it's 6, 7. So it would be here. I can. Oh, I'm not going to be editing the code, the source code of the page. But yeah, it's gonna be for when I do that. Did they? Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
It's 3 zeros. It's 400 million. No, it should be less.
It's less. It's 400 million. It's 400 million. It's the math is big. But this person, I think, no, not for 40 million. 40 million. 40.
Yeah, it's 40. So it's 8 numbers. 8
zeros. So yeah, so this person has 40 million Aquari deposited, and yeah. So as you can see, the contract is keeping track of everything. You could do staked USD values, but yeah, you would have to decode this. It's not going to be something we
I mean,
I believe this is 100 and this is 100. This is 100 and this is 111. $111.
Yeah, that would be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this person currently has $111 worth of Aquari, and they're good job. Good job. You got in early, $100. Just know, you guys, since you got in early, your points will increase. If the price goes up, then yes, the amount of points weighted, and so you got another good time. And yeah. So that is. Oh, for those of you that know about Chainlink, this contract is using Chainlink's oracles. That's just a little fun fact. So okay, that's enough of the technical outlay.
Yeah, they basically most of the people is not gonna understand most of the stuff we are saying here. So
exactly. Wait, before you finish this, can you go to the events tab? I just want to teach them about the events tab so that they can understand the transparency that comes.
Yep. It's here. All the calls made by every, basically all the functions being called and everything.
Yes. So if you guys want to just see the activity of like, oh, what's going on with the contract, and you want to actually have this in a human readable form or something close. I mean, this is not really human readable, but if you see in the blue on the right,
you can check the number. I mean, on the previous page you couldn't, but here you can basically you see that the first column was the address, and there is a lot of information being called here. But basically, one of those is address, participants, US values, and staked amounts in UINT 256.
Yes, and so for example, above this, you see where it says staked. This is a much easier one. Like, Machi, can you decode that hex decimal value where it says staked?
Yeah, it's
either below any of these.
It's in decimal, but 6, 7, 8 here.
It should be number. Yeah. So I believe this would be like 66 million. This person staked 66 million Aquari. Yeah. So the only reason we're telling you guys about this is because, as we said, the plan of this project was to make sure that we leverage the blockchain to add increased transparency. And now that we actually have the capacity to push this data on chain, you're going to begin to start seeing all of that. Because now Machi and I don't have to manually publish this data. All of our smart contract infrastructure will be able to do that. So for now, it's a staking contest, but in the future, when we have V2 out, for example, you'll be able to check basically everything on the protocol on chain, and that will be our source of truth. But basically we're telling you about this because our front end, that's made by us in the whole ethos of crypto is that, hey, we don't necessarily want to trust just what's on the front end. What is the company trying to show you? So obviously our app will make it all English and readable for you, so you don't have to manually do all this. But if for at any moment, you don't trust what's on the app, or you think Aquari team has at some point a malicious intent to not show you the truth on the app, you can come here, and this data is where you're gonna find the indisputable truth. So that is enough of this.
I mean, not these particular contracts, for example, in the future, because this one is for the contest, but there's going to be another contract where you will be able to find all the information you want to.
Exactly. And so Martin asked the good questions. He's like, is there a hard date for V2? So look, we're building in increments. I will say this. I know for the past 3 years, we're like, okay, we have to build this. Then when this is out, then you get this, and then this. Well, the reason why we're hyping things up now, and it's like, okay, it's good news, is that finally we're like, we're in the final fight to the finish here. We're actually on V2 development. So it's like, oh, why are you trying to hype up a staking pool? Blah 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 blah. Oh, well, it's not because the contest is not the point. The contest is just for community engagement and to put some real stakes on the line for a good beta test. But this staking logic is actually what we'll be using in V2. So we're working on V2 right now. That's actually one of the good things. Instead of it saying, oh, we work on this, then V2, yeah, team is actually working on V2. The date that we are aiming for, because we still need to make this cycle, and we know that, hey, this is what we've seen in price action in the markets, is sort of looking how DeFi summer was 3 to 4 years ago. So we know we're running close on time. Manche and I are aiming to deploy V2 by end of year. So we're looking for a winter release. And when I mean release, I mean a winter beta of V2. So yeah, actually, Manche, you can explain what the beta would mean in your language, because
beta is basically the early access in terms, like when you have games and you basically have an early access to the not finished version of the game. It's basically professionally called a beta or alpha in case of very early development cycle. But yeah, it's basically a pre-release software version that's gonna be available to our early supporters. That's you guys.
Yes. And then in regards to the app, there is a large part of the community that are Dutch. Is there an option to translate the app to Dutch for those who understand? Yes, actually. So it'll be actually quite easy to change locale. We can make it a simple button to toggle the entire app into Dutch. The reason why that isn't being focused right now is, I don't know if you've been noticing, each year we made the app skeleton, and then we had all the menu, and we're just each month or 2 months that pass by, Manche and I have a goal of just unlocking new menu by new menu. So this month we unlocked the staking menu. And guys, remember, right now we're focusing on functionality. We're not focusing fully on aesthetics. So the way the menus in the app work right now, it's a minimal user interface. It's just enough to be able to use, but they're not optimized for like grandma depositing yet. It will be soon, but that's like the last step once we've got all of the puzzle pieces in together. So yes, in the final app there will be an option to translate, but Manche and I want to basically have released all of the menus in the app, understand how users respond to the early test so that we can perfect the user interface. And V2, the end game of Solidarity.
It basically depends, because V2 is going to be modular, and you can basically look at it in terms of different modules. So definitely some of those are more developed than others.
Yes. And so the reason why we keep saying V2 is because V2 basically allows us to onboard all of our users onto that subscription model, and it gives us more flexibility with building on top of the protocol. So that's the main reason why we haven't marketed anything, because it's like a chicken before the egg problem. If we start marketing before V2 comes out, it's like, okay, we can maybe get some pumps coming, get users in, but we will have churn. Users will come, but they don't have a reason to stay in our ecosystem. And then it's like you can attract as many users as you want, but if you have a leaky pipe, it is not going to be good. So I know a lot of people are critical and they're saying like, hey, we need marketing, but Manche and I fully believe, hey, we need to have a product to offer the end user, and we wish to have that out by year's end. But essentially, yes, V2 will allow you to be onboarded into app along with the website revamp. You'll be able to understand, hey, we're building an on-chain environmental conservation organization, and the way we're trying to execute our vision is basically by creating this decentralized waste management company that's community owned. And how do we get revenue? You get revenue because your tokens in Aquari represent access or ownership of the revenue share from people essentially paying their bills by us providing these utility waste management services in developing economies, et cetera, et cetera. And hey, this app also comes with a platform for the community and shareholders to coordinate, whether it be marketing efforts, whether it be performing labor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, to basically have this ecosystem develop. So, yeah, there's a lot of words, but that's basically what the whole thing is. We're just building the platform for you guys to be able to coordinate. If you can't coordinate, then we don't have an organization. So, yes, that is that. On to next good news. More good news is that, hold on, Mache, let me get another link out for you. So sorry, I just need to get this out for you. Give me a moment. Here, if you can open this one.
Can you send it on WhatsApp?
Yes, WhatsApp. Thank you. Let's see. Mache.
Yeah, that's stream is gonna turn black sometimes because of the way I took over the stream from Cameron, and it's still holding on to some of those settings he set up. But yeah, it's bug.
Yes. So okay.
You really used the terms I told you.
Definitely. Are we able to?
Yeah. I changed the. Sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
I forgot they see us instead of my screen right now. Yeah, we are on.
No worries. So for those of you who haven't seen the screen in a bit, this is the website Dora Hacks. This is the website that Binance uses for its hackathon. So every quarter this year, Binance has been hosting a hackathon. They want apps to basically help with their ecosystem. So for those of you that don't know, like blockchain is all about the decentralization. Web consists of internet servers. Right now, we're in the internet of value. We want to decentralize accrue value via smart contracts. That's what's happening. But what also needs to be decentralized is access to data. And so, for those of you that know, there is a application or protocol called IPFS, which stands for Interplanetary File System. And without going into too many details, that is just a service that lets you store data in a decentralized fashion, not just on a single server source of truth. Binance is releasing its own product called BNB Greenfield, which is its own decentralized data solution. And so since we built, I think I mentioned this earlier, but we built our own forms using Postgres SQL. This is just regular relational database technology. But since Binance is having this competition, what we found is that, hey, what we could do is we built this form so that our own internal community can coordinate and communicate. There are other protocols that would love to have forms as well. There are protocols that have forms. They use Discourse, a platform called Discourse right now, currently in Web3. but it's not decentralized. All the data is stored on a centralized server, which means it can be easily censored if time comes. So what we did is we decided to build something that we call Aquari Greenform, which is a spin-off app from our own internal ecosystem, if that makes sense. So the forms in our app basically can be imported into a separate app that lets other projects host their own form independently outside of Aquari. And we are pitching this to Binance as an idea. Yes, to basically promote their BNB Greenfield technology. So what Machi and I did over the past week and a half is rewrite our entire form code base utilizing Greenfield instead of a regular database.
And no, I said that I went in because I saw that you were looking for the word, and we basically said that in the same moment because of that. And there is a delay, so you stopped talking. So sorry for that.
Okay, no worries, Manche. So yes, so we submitted, and the prize pool for this is about $50,000. So we'll see if we win. Who knows? Maybe we won't. But even if we don't, it's good. Practice makes perfect. Am I right? So just let you guys know, we will hear back on September 16th whether or not we win or not. That's just more stuff for you to know. So I'm just letting you know, if we win, what that means is that Binance is interested in working with Aquari's team in basically developing that offshoot product, basically, and they would incubate us. So I'm just letting you guys know that that's happening. So that's good news for Greenfield, Greenform. How is marketing effectively executed? What is the plan? Where does the money come from? Corolla, I want to answer this question. But in order to know it, I need to know how long have you been in the community for, so I know how much context you have. When did you join Aquari? Okay, 3 years. Okay, 3 years. So yes, if you've been here for 3 years, yeah, the marketing, what Aquari is look, this is a decentralized organization, but the issue that we've had right now is that we essentially have little means to coordinate. Right now, the project has been run centrally via Mache and I, and our main goal is to be able to get off of that model as soon as possible. And it so happens that, hey, most people that aren't technical, all this crypto jargon and everything is too complicated. So what we had to do was basically, hey, take a step back, and hey, before we can actually execute as an organization, as a company, we have to actually build the tools to be able to empower regular people like you to be able to sit at the decision-making table and be empowered to actually take action. So from a lot of people right now, obviously the whole goal of holding any equity in any organization are the returns, right? I would agree. Everyone wants returns. I want returns. Everyone puts money in because of returns. But the issue is, in order to generate returns, the organization needs to generate value for society. And any organization that cannot coordinate cannot generate value. So that brings us to where we are today, which is basically step one. Manche and I, as developers, self-taught, taught ourselves how to become blockchain developers, how to leverage Ethereum tooling to be able to build our app, to be able to empower you to be able to coordinate with us, so that when the app is released, which as I said earlier, is aiming for Q4 of this year. That is December, in time for 2025, January. That way, everyone now is able to execute. So at that moment, right now, these past 3 years, Mache and I went from learning. We had to set up our deals with Malhar. We had to set up our infrastructure and how to clean up with Pakistan. All of that groundwork has been laid out, but only we have been able to do that. The plan is no. We need to bring out the entire community to this discussion table, but we don't have the tools to manage that yet. So Machi and I have been the guardians of this, setting this all up so that in time when December comes and the app is finished, we can now offload all of the responsibilities we've been taking onto this community as a whole. And you all will have the tools to basically sit down at the table and we say, hey, we can all sit down together and be like, let's move in this direction. We want to do some marketing. Okay, let's set aside some of this money. Let's go there. Boom, boom. We can experiment, A/B test. What works is what will stick. Once we find what works, then things can move forward. So to answer your question, how is marketing effectively executed? What is the plan? Where does the money come from? I'll answer one by one. Marketing is effectively executed. That's via the platform that we're creating right now. What is the plan? The plan right now is there is no plan. The plan is we're going to wait and see what the community has and a great discussion when the app is finished. Because, hey, why have discussion if we can't execute? 3, where does the money come from? Right now, the money is coming from people speculatively believing that, hey, having a decentralized way to coordinate capital allocation and a way to coordinate in order to build an on-chain public waste management company, environmental conservation org, somehow provides some sort of leverage over traditional institutions, and they are speculatively putting money in order to make that product come to fruition. Once the product is done, which again, Q4 of this year is out, we will actually put that thesis to the test on the field. And what we will do, the existing plan that has been happening in Pakistan, is that we found in certain villages, there are certain areas that, certain communities that don't have access to proper waste management, not because it's impossible, but just because, just lack of infrastructure and the current will to do so. So we're going to come there, we're going to roll out these waste management services, and people in these villages are going to pay. We are a utility company. We're going to get revenues from that goes into the DAO, that brings in your returns. Obviously, one village is not enough. The first village is just a pilot. If that works out, we will expand to multiple villages. The revenues coming from hundreds of people paying their garbage utility bills, being paid directly into the protocol, those revenue cash flows are what will give intrinsic value to the token. And so, to keep a long story short, in the short term, the value of your Aquari is backed by the value of the cash flows coming from people in the developing world paying their utility bills. We are, in short, a garbage company. We are building a garbage company that is coordinated in a decentralized fashion. So
I mean that's very a basic form of putting that, but in essentially we always were a garbage company because we collected the waste from the rivers, seas, oceans, beaches, and we essentially going to expand on that. Create a new innovative way to improve that process, create ways for recycling to happen, create carbon credits from recycling and offset of carbon that happens between like production of new material and recycled material that we can provide. And it's essentially going to be building on that foundation that's being laid on.
Yes. And the next question, there have been some aggressive sells from the dev wallet, more than usual. Cam explained in Telegram that there were bills that needed to be repaid in 2022, 2023. Are you able to go in more detail? Yes, I am. So, as we know, in 2021, yeah, like you saw the price action, and then we had that huge crash. And March and I basically used that runway, what was left over, to live off from 2022. And then in 2023, we had the absolute bottom of the cycle. It was complete dead, nothing. Nothing. And the thing is Machi and I work on this project full time. Can't build the project if we're both working full time jobs. In that case, then this thing will come to fruition in 8 years, which is obviously too little time. So what happened in 2023 is it got to the point where obviously our market cap was so low, but it came to the point that any more selling would just completely tank the value of the project to nothing. So what Machi and I had to do at that point was rely. Well, I don't know about Machi, but I can say for me is that I had to rely on my immediate network, family, friends, banks to basically live my life on credit to basically survive and take the risk to be able to go all in Aquari. And what has happened is basically, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. Might as well rebalance these balance sheets right now. So what had happened over the past 3 months is essentially been that deleveraging of basically paying back those debts and seeing how we're about to take off right now, especially with the contest. I just wanted to clear all of those debts up front because, if I keep selling in while this contest is going on, then obviously we're not going to see this price action between now and November when the contest ends. So the extra few days is the fact that, I'm essentially paying back. It's 2 months burn. It's the cost of living for now plus the cost of living from a month that would have happened in 2023. It's like double the burn rate. And then add on top of that, the first of the month was coming up right now. That's when bills are all due. So, now the first is kind of past. All those bills are done. I've offloaded. I've repaid all of those liabilities. Our balance sheet is rebalanced. And essentially what we're going to do is just wait and see how this contest works and see if we can get the price appreciation now. So that's essentially what it has been is just cost of living expenses from the past, to be quite honest. And to reiterate, that's been paid off. So you shouldn't see that rate of selling as of now. The burn should reflect the cost of living of Pakistan now because we've had the months to offload that. Greenfield form, let's go. Are we not being looked at Binance for their grant program? I'm sure we applied. What do you mean by grant program? Are you talking about their hackathon or are you talking about their separate grant program? Because those are two separate projects. And then I will answer the next question after you respond, Ali. A separate grant program. So the thing of the separate grant program, we applied last year, but I do not think we have applied this year. And the reason is I know Binance redid their grant program this year. When Machi and I want to reapply, we want to make sure that the product is more finished. Because once you reveal yourself, that's like the first impression. That's how they're going to judge you. And applying with a, functional app is different than applying something halfway. Because the hackathon team, with the grants program, they're looking at products on an individual basis and saying, hey, are we interested enough to deploy capital? And then with the hackathon, they've already set aside and earmarked money to be given to a winner. And so that is, they have to give that money out. And considering the developer competition on BNB chain is not that good as compared to other ecosystems, to be quite frank, we find that we have a really good chance at winning. I mean, we won in the past, and we won in the past with less progress than we have now. So, yeah, we're more than confident right now. How important has Furkan been to not only Aquari but to yourself? Does he play a major role in Aquari? Yeah, I can give that. So, Martin, to answer that question, what do you know about Furkan right now? Like, I just want to clarify any mystery behind the Furkan figure.
By the way,
I just need to know like how.
By the way, thank you, Maurice, for pointing that out. Our workers in Pakistan are currently working every day, and they are being paid by Aquari.
Yes, yes. Oh, did I miss CJ's question? Did I answer that, or did I skip the
Let me see.
the village pilot question?
No, the village pilot wasn't answered, I think.
Okay, yes. Let me actually. You can go type that, Martin, about Furkan. I will go answer CJ's question and go back. So, yes, with the village, and it's funny. This actually ties back in with Martin's question a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yes. So the village pilot, as of right now, what we have is happy results from the villagers and whatnot. The issue that we have right now, for those of you that don't know, is that essentially Furkan has agreed to help us get access to the Pakistani market. He's been helping us build out our operations and perform cleanups out there. But in exchange, Furkan, he has for those of you that don't know, he is one of our previous old contributors from Polkadot Substrate. He's one of the few Polkadot Substrate developers on the planet, and from 2016 up to 2020, he contributed a lot and made his crypto fortune by being a core developer in that ecosystem. And as of now, he wants to diversify. And so the thing is when I met Furkan in Dubai years ago, when we went to the conference out in Dubai, Furkan had interest in importing stone into the United States, grave markers. And so the mutual agreement that we came is, hey, Furkan, you will help my team set up Aquari, set up logistics out in Pakistan for cleanups, and help us with your government connections. In exchange for basically, I'll teach you about the American market. I'll help you start your import, your Pakistani granite and grave markers into the American market. So that has been the trade as of right now. And so we've both sides have been getting equal value in that. But what that's created is that basically, with these things, you kind of have to, it takes a lot of your focus. So the way it's been is that half of the year we're out in Pakistan. I'm doing Aquari. We're building all that. And the other half of the year, what has happened is that since I have to keep my end of the deal and helping him, I work with him in the States and help him with all that. Well, so that's what happened last year. We were in the States first, now we're here. Now it's coming to a part where this has to rotate. So the thing is now is the team is working on hiring a representative that will basically be able to communicate with us in English with our existing logistics manager out there. So that way, while I am back in the United States, these cleanups can still keep happening. We can keep getting content, et cetera, et cetera. The issue that we have right now with the village pilot is villagers are happy, cleanups are still happening, but the thing is Furkan had to go back to the States from like a month ago. and he's still been there in order to basically prepare legal documents and licenses for him to ship his stone out into the States. And the stone is supposed to arrive in the next couple of months. So what that has created is that a situation where, yeah, the village chief is ready to have the next conversation, but because I don't speak Urdu, they're happy, but I need to have Furkan here so that we can negotiate the finalized deal. So Furkan right now is set to come back. He was supposed to be back in August, but he sent his passport in to apply for, I believe, a Schengen visa. And when you apply for these visas, they take your passport. So they haven't given him his passport back. And so he's just basically stranded out in the States until right now we have an earmarked return date for around late September. So that's September 26th. So the village pilot status is that it's gone well, but the discussions about closing the deal are pending because, quite frankly, I don't think you can close a business deal, let alone a government contract deal, when you can't even speak the local language. So that is the pilot situation. And that's also why we haven't had any of the cinematic cleanups as of lately, because the way things are right now is Furkan had been teaching us the ropes to be able to execute everything, but in terms of logistics, everything is tied to him right now. The thing is, when he comes back in September, what we've set is, hey, we need to, Furkan, everything that you know, we need to basically transfer all that knowledge onto people that we hire. Okay? So that way, no longer do we have to be bottlenecked or tied to you whenever, hey, Aquari can't have cleanups when you're no longer here. So that is the situation we're in. We're in this logistical limbo. And when we get out of this logistical limbo, we're going to basically make sure that invest in our own personnel so that, hey, even though people are cleaning, we actually have a way to communicate with the people that are working for us and be able to command them and take care of them on our own means. So that is what's essentially happening. You can ask more questions if that's not clear. And then the next question, Martin, how important is Furkan been not only to Aquari but to yourself? Does he play a major role in Aquari? Martin, Furkan helped to Pakistan. Yes. So yeah, Furkan has been my host family. This lovely home is their second home. I've been honored to stay here while I'm out here. So this has been really good. It's been helping me fight the Karachi heat. But yes, Furkan is I'm staying with Furkan's family. His host family helps me interact with our workers, but the thing is, because the cleanup site is so far, and Furkan's father works, and the role that women hold in this country, it's sending women out to remote village in the hot sun to help do work. It's not something that's like socially acceptable. There's no male figures that can actually take me out right now. So I'm just kind of sitting here working on the forms, waiting for Furkan's return, so that we can resume the logistics of me being out there. That is basically Furkan is helping us with everything. He helps us get into contact with the government. He's helping us hire the right personnel. The issue has just been, we want to keep burn low as long as possible before we know that we have a true business model. But seeing how the pilot's going, it looks like this business model will actually follow through. So it looks like in the coming months, having a manager that speaks English that can help us take Furkan's existing place that is salaried under us, that's going to be the next step so that we can be fully independent. Is there communication with Launch House founders during development of Aquari? So with Launch House, for those of you that don't know, I don't know if I said this once, but I don't think I said this multiple times. So Launch House was a bit of an experiment. So there was this venture capital fund. Let's actually go back and do a whole recap of Launch House. Mache, can you do a quick Google search real quick?
Yeah, I've added looping animation of some cute cat for people to have something moving to look at. What do you want to do?
Look up A16Z, like A16Z, just A16 and Z, one word, and just press enter. It's for the new people. So, can you actually pull up the Wikipedia article? And then, hold on. Let's give me a second. Let's go back. And then I'm going to WhatsApp you another link. Just put this up. So for those of you that don't know from the past, when Aquari first launched, we basically had no network, and we needed to basically get network, because if you're not, if you're nobody, then what is it? So our project was incubated in a program called Launch House back in 2021 and 2022, and what it was is it was a accelerator that was ran and it was backed by a venture capital firm called Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z. And it is a fun fact, that investment firm is run by a man named Mark Andreessen, and he is popular for creating the Netscape. He worked on the Netscape browser back in the 90s. It's one of the first internet browsers, for those of you that were around. And he's also responsible for creating, for those of you that know a little bit of HTML, he was responsible for creating the image tag. Early tech titan, now runs a venture capital firm, invests in startups, et cetera, et cetera. So what ended up happening is when figuring out how to network, someone recommended me to join Launch House. I went, applied, we got in, and Aquari, Machi and I were incubated there. And all you gotta know what Launch House is basically, think of it like a think tank where they put a bunch of early stage founders together to see if there's any synergies that can happen. They want to support founders building their ideas. And what happens is A16Z gets to look at all the founders interacting in this environment and see which ones hold the best chance at generating returns, and if so, then they will go ahead and deploy capital either at the time of incubation or after the company's mature a couple years down the line. Then they come back and say, hey, we've seen your growth, all of this, let's cut a deal. So that's what Launch House is, as a background. How do you say, Machi, can you bring up the Wikipedia article real quick? Just hold that up so they can just read that for a bit, and I'll continue talking. So the question now was, is there still communication? Yes. So what had happened is Launch House started off as a smaller company that genuinely was interested in helping founders. Not saying that they didn't stray from that path, but what happened is when you are a bootstrapped company, you have different economic incentives as compared to a company that's taken venture investment. So when I joined, Launch House was run by a team of ex-Google and Airbnb engineers and product managers. That's they basically taught Machi and I a lot, and the early environment that those early cohorts had, it really helped us grow as individuals to be able to run this project properly. But what happened is somewhere along the line, about a year and a half later, Andreessen invested $15 million into them, and the way that they had pitched Launch House to Andreessen was, hey, we already have this community of founders, this ecosystem, and it was in Los Angeles and New York at the time. They said, hey, their thesis was that, hey, college is becoming deprecated. People need new, like essentially like a trade school, but for like tech and startups. And so they said, we can replicate these communities in different cities across the globe. We can create them in Amsterdam, create them in Miami, create them in Dubai, create them in Tokyo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the pitch to Andreessen was, you're basically going to have a bunch of startup hubs in many cities across the world, attracting talent from across the world, and you'll be able to have an environment where you can send in your partners to see how these ideas are brewing, and you can get access to these deals earlier than other people. So Andreessen invested with that thesis because it sounds like a good idea. But the issue is with these things is you can't just open up a new office. If you open up a new office, you need, the human capital. You need the people with the knowledge there to be able to facilitate that knowledge transfer to happen. And those people are rare. You can't just like spawn them. So what eventually happened is Launch House took the money, but tried to expand too fast because the venture capital, if you need to generate those returns, you need to do that at that scale. And the quality of the community suffered, and eventually it dissolved. So I am in touch with the Launch House founders, but they have gone on to start new startups. Launch House has been dissolved as of a year ago. I still have many connections there that have kept me in industry, and those connections still do keep me in touch with A16Z. But again, if we're still pre-product, I can't really do anything with those connections, which is again why we're focusing on building this app for so long. So yes, that is the answer to your question. It's basically all of the Launch House connections, they're still there, but they're not things I can tap into or generate value out of immediately until the product is done. That's the main bottleneck. To get activity on our forums, would it be a good idea to ask questions via the forum, or if one of you guys can create it, would show Binance working the forum on Greenfield? Yes. We are working on that. The main issue of why we haven't started doing that is no one knows who is talking to who yet. So I'm currently working on the username service right now, so that instead of seeing CL, your user ID as your username, you'll be able to see Martine, Cameron, and everything, and your profile pictures. So once we get that identity, now you can see who's talking to who, then we'll start actually having more activity on those forums. And again, the reason why that hasn't been done yet is because Machi and I spent the last a few weeks trying to enter into this hackathon because winning the prize money will help with those liquidations. But since we're entering into the contest, we're right back on track with the main development track right now. How much are we expecting from the village each month? There are figures of 5K being stated in the Telegram. So yes, so for each month, what basically the way we modeled that is that we would be expecting revenues of 5K, but that's not the profit. So the idea, just to keep the numbers short, expect per village you take 5K a month revenue, but it costs us, like, for example, $3,000 in token incentives to get the cleanups done with the clean to earn, and then leave 2K. The remaining 2K is the profit that is distributed amongst all holders, etc. And just to clarify, the tokenomics that are at work, when all of those people are paying their utility bills, those are going to show up as buys in the protocol. Okay, so it's not just them paying us in cash. No, that's actually going into the protocol on chain. So you're collecting the tokenomic rewards off of each utility payment. That makes sense. So the vision we're trying to envision here is, how the chart is kind of dead right now. Imagine you onboard the first village. Imagine that village, say, for example, has 100 different households, for example. Well, what you're going to see, for example, are 100 buys worth you know, like $5, $10, etc., etc. €10, $5, and that's the utility bill being paid. But then what you're also going to see is you're going to see the token rewards. So that would be, that would also be cells. But the thing is there's more money coming into the system because, yeah, it's like simple business. You provide the value you provide, the cost of providing that service is less. Does that make sense? So that is the business model that we have. Is we go into a new village, we charge the bills, we bring in the revenue, we give out the token rewards, we make sure that the token rewards that we give out are less. We get the job done for less money than is coming in, and that way you get this system, this flywheel of each month we're now in net positive cash flow. Is Aquari registered as a business in Pakistan? In hindsight, how many villages do you think Aquari can be in, and how much do you believe we can create revenue? I'm very interested in this project. So the reason why we're in Pakistan right now, I just want to say that it's not that Pakistan's like the best market, for example. The reason why we're in Pakistan right now is since we're such a small project, we want high capital efficiency. So we want our dollar and euros to go the furthest mile. And, I don't know, renting a bulldozer in the Netherlands, I don't know how much that goes for, but I'm sure that's a couple €100 a day, maybe 1,000. I don't know.
Yeah,
in the US,
it's gonna probably like a couple of hundred, something like that.
Yeah. But in Pakistan, you can rent a bulldozer for a day for like 20 euros. So the thing is it lets us. It's a sandbox environment. It's a market that maybe not ideal, but it lets us test out our logistics, test out actually solving the problem. Let's just get that experience and actually see it work in a market that actually needs our services. And once we've perfected that model, okay, now what we've essentially built is something that can be repeated in different markets. Obviously, every market's different and you have to adjust and fine tune. But the idea is that this product that we're building isn't just supposed to be deployed in Pakistan. It's supposed to be deployed in India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Indonesia, any emerging market
basically also
where there are gaps. Go ahead, Machi.
No, I was saying basically everywhere. As we scale up and the project gets more automated, the potential is going to be that it's gonna be deployable everywhere with fully automated verification and community management aspects. And that's the vision as we scale up. And obviously because we met Furkan in Dubai and we made that connection, particularly Cameron talked with Furkan a lot, we could utilize friendship with him and stay at his house and test that entire idea in Pakistan.
Yes. So I'd also like to add that, in these markets, what I found is that there tends to be a lot of gaps in waste management solutions because, a lot of these countries, they rely on the government, and the government doesn't get the job done. And then the private markets don't have a solution because they're too undercapitalized. And okay, they're too undercapitalized. Well, where are they going to raise the money from? Well, think about it. Take Pakistan, for example. There isn't a private market solution because, hey, the people with the money, they already are in gated communities where there's waste management. It's fine, usually in military housing societies. And if you're unlucky enough where you're not in such a community, who are you getting money from? You're just not. Okay, well, what about this? Having a public company. Well, hey, these compared to like Amsterdam or compared to America's New York markets, these markets are very underdeveloped. and also low trust. You might invest in stocks in, I don't know what the Amsterdam Stock Exchange is called, but you would people would definitely around the globe invest in a company that's on the New York Stock Exchange. So the thing is how do I say, with a lot of foreign, one interesting thing I find about crypto is because it brings these financial primitives across borders. What it also allows, where Aquari can fit in, is basically, hey, we're a globalized company. We work in many different markets. You don't have to invest in Pakistan stock market in a garbage company on Pakistan Stock Exchange and trust their system. No. You can use the crypto economic system, and your assets are backed by math. That's one aspect of risk that I honestly kind of realized has been a thing. Is like a lot of countries just, yeah. For example, Nigerians, they need waste management, but no one's going to deploy their capital in Nigerian stock exchange. So these countries don't even, entrepreneurs in these countries don't even have the opportunity to go public in the way that we can in Western capital markets. And I think Aquari is really going to help bridge that gap.
Yeah, there's basically insurmountable amount of potential and capital to be made in unrealized potential in developing countries, and basically giving people opportunities to do something. For example, in our case about environment, because it's not that they don't care, but like Cameron said, locally it's often problem of opportunities, and globally it's problem of companies being out of reach and the trust not being there. So we basically bridge those two problems with developed nations and people living there.
Yes. So I think yes. No worries, Martin. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate the questions because, yeah, it's just kind of hard to see where the gaps in the knowledge of the community are. But I want to keep everyone informed. Along here with Mache, we both want to keep everyone informed. So yes, I think we're going a bit late. I don't want to take you guys any more of your time, but we do have one more thing that we can share real quick. No, I don't think there's a quick way to do that, isn't there?
Yeah.
We can set that for next week.
Yeah, we're gonna set up for next week when we can set up that.
Yeah. So no worries, but we're gonna have more frequent AMAs. So we'll see you next week, guys.
Yeah, and yeah, basically we can call it up. It's 11 p.m. on Sunday, so yeah, we're gonna leave you guys. If there are any more questions, you can hit us up on Telegram. Yeah, basically, if there's also another need for soon AMA, yeah, we're gonna let you guys know and keep you guys updated about everything that's happening. So thank you for joining us today, and yeah, good night, guys.